welcome to the very first episode of Totally Awesome with 8-time Mr. Olympia Lee Haney, brought to you by the International Association of Fitness Sciences, the cutting edge in lifestyle training, and starring none other than the 8-time Mr. Olympia legendary Lee Haney. Thank you for joining us, Lee.
Hey, Ron, what's happening, my man? Everything cool?
Everything's cool. Everyone is very, very psyched that you're doing this show. Everyone's very happy.
Well, it's a real honor to be a part of the MD family, which I've always been throughout the years, and really appreciate everything that MD does as far as keeping the word out there concerning what's happening in the sport. I think right now MD is probably one of very few that is still living as far as the sport is concerned.
Yeah.
So I just want to say thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So we're talking on the Monday after the Super Bowl. This will probably be up in the next couple of days, but I wanted to get your thoughts on the game because I'm sure a lot of the people watching this were also watching the game and had their thoughts.
Oh, yeah, man. It was an awesome game. And I have all the respect for the Patriots, and you can never count those guys out. If there's a way to win, Tom Brady finds a way to win.
Yeah.
But I was real happy at the fact that the Eagles hung in there. They didn't give up. They fought to the bitter end. And the number 55, I forgot the young cat's name, but man, he went in there and called that fumble, and that made all the difference.
Yeah.
I think had he not caused that fumble, then Brady would have definitely pulled a rabbit out of the hat, and they would have won that Super Bowl. They find a way to win. So I'm very happy for the Eagles, and man, it was an awesome time for everybody.
Yeah, well, I'm speaking to you about 10 miles away from Gillette Stadium, and I can tell you there's no joy in Mudville today.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who's going to get that reference other than people our age.
Yeah.
It's a baseball poem, people. You'll figure it out. Casey at the bat was the poem. Okay, so I asked the readers for some questions for you, and that was only a few hours ago, and we got a good batch of questions. Are you ready, sir?
I'm ready. Let's rock and roll.
Let's do this. The first one comes from forum member on MD named Noise. He wants to know, how did it feel to quit pro bodybuilding? Did you enjoy the first few years, or was it like Noreen, a bit of a battle? Yeah.
Well, I never, for me, when I completed my last Mr. Olympia, that was it.
Yeah.
And I haven't had any regrets since that time. I gave all I had to give during my time as Mr. Olympia. I enjoyed the time there, the hard work, all the dedication. It was almost like I had a chance to finally exhale, to catch my breath and say, whew, man, because when you're on the top, there's nowhere to go but down.
Yeah.
So, no regrets. I've had an awesome time. I love what the sport has meant to me, what it's done for me in my life, my family. So it's been all good. And so I never had this thing about coming back or none of those kind of feelings. Those kind of feelings hurt.
Yeah.
Real bad.
Now, do you think it was a little easier for you to do it that way with no regrets in the sense that you were so young? I mean, this is something, maybe Phil Heath will break your record, maybe he won't, but nobody's ever going to be 31 years old and have 8 Olympia titles. That's already just, Ronnie wasn't even, didn't have his first Mr. Olympia at 31. So, I mean, you were a young guy still, really, when you walked away from this. So was it easier because you really still had your whole life ahead of you?
Well, you know what? Looking back, to be 31 and having won 8 Mr. Olympia and that's a miracle in itself.
Yeah.
I left with my health. My joints are still great today. I have no problems there. I run, I jump, I do all of those crazy things that the younger people do.
Yeah.
But I think when you've done your very best and given your all, and you set the record that you've done, achieved what you set out to do, which, of course, when I first started, I didn't say, well, when I win 8 Mr. Olympia, I was going to retire. No, it started out as 1, then 3, then 5, and then, 8. So when I hit 8, I said, okay, what else do I want to do beyond that? It was then time to sow the seeds of success in other directions. And that's when I said to myself, well, it's time to move on. Let's do something new, something fresh. let's take the same tenacity and determination and use it in other ways, and to continue to grow and maybe reinvent myself in another way. So that's what I continue to do even today. And I've enjoyed my journey as 8-time Mr. Olympia. No regrets.
No. So his question had a couple parts to it. You're training today. He wanted to know how's your training today. So obviously, when you were Mr. Olympia, your goal was just to have the best physique in the world. It wasn't so much about health or strength or anything. What kind of goals do you have now? As how old are you, sir? 50, 58, 59?
58. Right, 58.
So what kind of goals do you have now when you're putting your routines together?
Okay. Well, it's all about functionality now. I still want people to say, well, that looks like Lee Haney, not like, I want to look like
Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, Pee Wee Herman, I want to say that's Lee Haney.
Yeah.
Of course, the training is not as heavy as it used to be. Also, the amount of the volume is not as much as it used to be. And the food volume isn't either. Now I'm at a point where, man, I'm glad I don't have to eat 7 meals a day.
Yeah.
Give me 3 and I'm good.
Wow.
So a lot of things change. I use a lot more things like functional training, the exercise ropes, the medicine balls. Of course, I still use my dumbbells for my, to hold my size and foundation. I still do those things.
Yep.
Still do squats, stiff leg deadlifts, dumbbell presses, laterals, all of those I still do. Except for I generally do these type of movements on, let's say, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and in between days, I do more of the aerobic or functional style training.
Okay.
So I still mix it up in such a way that don't destroy my joints, because the fact of the matter is, when you've been an athlete on the top level, professional level, I mean, whether it's the nationals or the universe or IBB World Championship or the Olympia, your body have experienced some form of trauma, and your body does not forget that, and you have to remind yourself that it has, or else it will remind you itself. So I'm sort of smart in that way to know how far to go and to sort of hold back a bit. You can feel like you're ready to lift the world one day, and then that day you go in and get hurt because your joints say, hey, remember we won Olympia 8 times in a row. So we're not the same.
I always find it just amazing that, you have no aches and pains, and you're still walking great. And, unfortunately, Ronnie's going in tomorrow for yet another spinal surgery. Others that won the Olympia after you, Dorian, all kinds of torn muscles. And, you did something right, and you're still doing something right, because here you are, 58 years old, the picture of health and mobility. And a lot of us much younger than you cannot say the same. So listen to Lee, people. I wish I had listened to Lee. I wish I had stimulated instead of annihilated.
There you go.
Okay. The last part of that question was, do you still see some of the old guys? Do you keep in touch with any of the guys you used to compete with?
Well, I talked to Ronnie today.
Okay.
I told Ronnie I'd be sure to pray for him concerning his surgery on tomorrow. Yeah. And we laughed and joked like we always do. These guys I've shared part of my life with, Sean Ray and Mike Christians and Samir, and the honor of being there with Robbie and Roy Callender and Tom Platts and Frank Zane and Dave Johns and all these awesome people that I saw growing up, and here I am, being on the same stage with some of them, and you just it's just an awesome opportunity, something I'll never forget. To always be a part of me, so it's magic. So each time, the Arnold event happens, we get to meet there. And then, of course, at the Mr. Olympia, it's almost like a family reunion. We get to meet there, laugh and talk, and this is the fun part of it. No longer are we competing and trying to rip each other apart on stage. We get to laugh about it.
Oh, man.
Have some ice cream and cake afterwards,
Right on. Maybe an adult beverage or two. Who knows?
There you go.
Next question is from Bolson. We just kind of referenced this very briefly. I'd be curious to know how his views on nutrition have changed since retiring. I imagine he's a health-conscious guy and eats for life now. Well, you just said 3 meals a day. Wow.
Yeah, 3 meals a day, and those meals consist of things that make sense. I've always been a stickler for good nutrition. Breakfast consists of sometimes oatmeal, with walnuts, brown sugar with cinnamon, 2 or 3 eggs, and I make sure the eggs are whole eggs, scramble or boil, hormone-free, antibiotic-free. So I read my labels. Then I have chicken, which is hormone and antibiotic-free, sauteed, grilled with veggies, spinach, brown rice, sweet potatoes. I still eat the same way. I just don't eat as much.
Yeah.
So I don't do fried foods. Once in the blue moon, I may have a fried nuggets or so forth inside of a mixed green salad. But that's as far as it goes for me. I don't do red meat, particularly at this time in my life.
Yeah.
When I competed younger, I would have red meat once in the blue moon, but never use it when I was training for competition. I always believed egg protein was the better source. It was in and out real quick. It didn't sit around in my gut for around 50 hours. So
wow.
I've always been, just have steak every day. Think about it. It's hard to eliminate this stuff. So I've always been a stickler concerned in giving my body the things that's needed to help it repair and rebuild on, and give me what I need in the way of muscle, in the way of energy and growth. So that's the name of the game.
Now, I'm curious as to your thoughts on this, Lee. You ate 7 meals a day while you were competing, and most of the people watching is probably eat 5, 6, 7 meals a day. Is that something you feel can be sustained for life, or do you think as we get older and maybe shift towards more of a health conscious attitude with regard to what we do in the gym and everything, as opposed to just trying to get big, 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 do you think it makes sense to keep eating that way, or should everybody eventually be scaling back and eating a lot less volume of food?
Well, see, the one thing that happens, the body works in a way of demand and supply. So the demand was much greater as a younger athlete. You're squatting, you're benching, you're lifting a ton of weight. So your body was looking and craving for all of this additional nutrition.
Yeah.
But since the demand is not there today at the age of 58, my body's not craving for that amount of nutrition. The training system has changed, the volume has changed, so has the appetite. So it all falls in line with where you are at a particular point in your life. Your training and your nutrition goes together. So I'm good with 3 meals a day. Then of course there may be a snack in between, oatmeal cookies, snacks, and those kinds of things, or some fruit, protein shake. But it's nothing compared to what I did years ago.
Okay. Now you're not starving at all at any point during the day, right?
No, I'm not starving at all. Matter of fact, if I'm not careful, I can end up dropping weight too fast. So I still look at the clock and say, hey, okay, I'll have breakfast, have a little snack, have lunch, have a little snack, and then sometimes dinner. Dinner is generally in before 7:30, 8 o'clock anyway.
So I would be remiss if I didn't ask, because people are going to say, why didn't you ask him, what do you weigh, Lee? Because you look still in very athletic condition.
I'm around 235.
Wow.
Yeah, I generally hold it this way. I mean, when I won in Teenage America, I weighed 216 pounds then.
Yeah.
When I won the Nationals, I weighed 226, and IFBB World Championship 232. So I'm right around the weight that I feel good at. I don't have to try to hold this weight. It just stays where it is, I try to keep it where it is with some abs too,
Because, you always talked about striking distance, and I don't think you never got really heavy like so many of the other guys did anyway.
No, it didn't make sense, because that means you have to, live off green beans and tuna fish. I mean, what kind of life is that?
No life for me, man. No life for me. Okay, next question comes to us from Bete Ona. Your favorite muscle to train, and did you have exercises that you hated to do?
I hated all muscles. Because to go to the next level, man, you really have to push and drive yourself beyond, what's the norm. You just couldn't be normal and be a Mr. Olympia or be any kind of great champion. So you have to attack each muscle with the same type of intensity in order to get it to grow and then give it time enough to recover. So there was no favorite body part. I had some body parts that responded quicker than others.
Yeah.
Of course, that was my lats. They would grow real quick. My deltoids, my chest, all of these, but my biceps were slow to grow. So I had to really focus on getting them up. So there was no favorite body parts, none. I hated all of them.
See, I would have thought, I would have assumed Lee Haney probably loved training chest. He had this amazing chest. He must have loved back. He had the greatest back of his era. But no, okay. He wants to know, how does he avoid injuries after years of heavy training? So he's already for people that are already at a point where they've been training heavy for a very long time, and now they're going to be concerned about avoiding injuries. What do you suggest?
And again, my philosophy has always been train to stimulate, not annihilate. You want to use the science of training. You want to be smart. There's a on and off season. There's a time to cycle your training down. You can't be 95% or 99%, across the board all the time. After each competition, a Mr. Olympic competition, I would go to I call it a 3-day power circuit. That's what we say in my certification program, a 3-day power circuit, where by Monday we would do chest and arms, calves, abs. Wednesday we would do legs. Friday we would do back and shoulders, calves, abs. And the days in between we may do a little speed walking, something along those lines. So each body part was being trained about once every 7th day. So that's enough time to recover for the joints to get healthy again, and you feel good. After about, a month and a half, 2 months of that, then we're ready to roll back into, a 3-on-off 1, which means then each body part is being trained every 5th day, which is smart. So that way you're not killing yourself. And I never went so heavy whereas I'm trying to rep out a max of 2 reps or 4 reps or even 6. If your rep range is, you can't get no more than 6 reps on your last set, guess what? The weight is too heavy. It's and when you look at the history of bodybuilding and the science that I got from Arnold, that I got from Robbie Robertson, or I got from the different athletes, the greats, the guys who wrote those books about bodybuilding, guess what? These guys are still training today. They didn't tear biceps or tear quads or get lower lumbar injuries. That never happened because it was all about the shape and molding the body over a period of time, not trying to do it in 3 weeks.
Now, I don't know how much you're on social media like Instagram and Facebook, but I'm very, very concerned about this current generation of young people, what's going to happen to them in the coming years, because I see so many of them doing max deadlifts every week, max squats, and they're doing it for the camera. They're doing it so they can post it and get comments and likes and followers. But I see a lot of these people down the line having major spine issues, torn muscles, shoulder issues. I wish more of them would take the attitude that bodybuilding is supposed to be about a little bit more moderate weight and more reps, time under tension. Because there's a lot of guys out there that think they're bodybuilders, but they're really powerlifters.
Exactly. And you can't use powerlifting in the same form that you would use bodybuilding. It never works. Whenever you pile a ton of weight on a joint, you continue to hit it. Eventually, something bad is going to happen. Your body will not be able to withstand that type of stress, over a period of time. So the same science needed to prepare an athlete, be it a boxer or a baseball player or a sprinter or a swimmer. There's cycles, mesocycles. 3 weeks, a certain amount of intensity for 3 weeks, another amount for another 3, another amount for 3, and then you cycle on and off or cycle down from the level of intensity. Bodybuilding have to be looked at in the same way. That's why in the IFS, we teach the different training systems. We teach how to go about matching the different body parts together so that you don't end up with joints being torn apart and injuries to your back. I was looking a week or so ago, this young man tore his quad off of the knee. It totally tore it off the bone.
Yeah.
Well, he was doing leg presses.
Mm-hmm.
And I see all this goofiness on the website where guys got all these plates piled up and they're doing leg presses. So one guy hyperextended his knee, just went the opposite direction. It was the nastiest thing that I've ever seen. But for what reason? Take the weights off, add maybe 245s on each side, you know, and then as you work your way up, just so you get in a full leg press.
Yeah.
Work the entire muscle, half rep. So you get more intensity and more muscle out of the movement than you would by using 8 million pounds and just barely moving your knees.
Yeah.
And then putting yourself in harm's way. This makes no sense.
I mean, I use you as an example. I've used you as an example so many times because, like I said, these guys, I see T-bar rows that it's just like a spasm. They're doing these little jerky motions with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plates stacked on the end of a Olympic bar. They're doing barbell rolls with 405, and I say Lee Haney had the greatest back of his era. He dominated people with that back, and I don't think he ever did more than 80 or 85 pound dumbbell for a row.
Exactly.
Barbell rolls, 225, 275 at the most, but you were stimulating the muscle. You were working the muscle. Full range of motion, contraction, mind-muscle connection. You were never throwing weights around, ever.
No, as a result, I'm not walking around like Quasimodo either. That's what you'll see in the future. A lot of guys are getting injured. They're tearing themselves up. They won't be in the sport long. They won't be able to do what Robbie is doing now. Robbie is 70 years old, still looking fantastic, still training. Those are the lessons and the tools that's been handed down. I always say, but listen, don't try and reinvent the wheel. If it's already rolling, just shine it up a little bit. That's all you got to do, shine it up a bit. And that's what I tried to do. I learned from Robbie, learned from Arnold, learned from Franco Colombo, learned from Frank Zane, learned from the greatest in the business, and that has given me what I am and who I am today. And I'm not hurt or injured.
Right on. Next question for you. Open or classic division? Which one do you prefer?
Open or classic division? I think each division has something unique about it. Yeah. I like all of them. I like the fact that there are several divisions now. I didn't like the fact that there was just one division for so many years. So you either had to be a mass monster or you can't compete at all. Yeah. Now that was ridiculous and it was killing the sport. But now that we have the open division of bodybuilding, now we have classic physique and we have physique. Now there's one part that's still missing. Okay. Classic physique is classic bodybuilding. Right. Classic bodybuilding is the vacuum, is the small tapering waist. It's what Arnold looked like. It's what Robbie looked like with Lee Haney, Lee Labrada, Rich Gaspari. So why do we have to put on boy shorts? Yeah. It's ridiculous. And why do you have to establish? It's more about the look than it is about the weight. But I understand what the organization is trying to do is they're putting a weight criteria so they don't creep back up, because a lot of times, and I guess I will to a certain extent say the judges need to make it clear about what they wanted to see. You can't put Cedric McMillan and Big Ramy on the same stage together. You're talking two different physiques. Yeah. You got Cedric, then you have guys with, Sean Roden. You got other physiques that fall into that category. These are classic physiques, or classic bodybuilding, so to speak. But then you have Big Ramy, and that's a whole nother type of physique. And Wrinkly Roller, that's bodybuilding, open bodybuilding now. Yeah. So I like that there's a place for everybody. Nobody get left out, because all the athletes train hard to achieve what they have.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that there's different categories, but I think classic physique need to be called classic bodybuilding because that's what it is. And bodybuilding should, in my opinion, it was classic bodybuilding that made bodybuilding.
And we need to get rid of those shorts. Give those guys some trunks.
Give us some trunks. Get rid of the little boy shorts, whatever they go, or whatever they call them.
Well, I mean, let's give them trunks like they wore in the 80s, like when you were competing. They didn't have you guys didn't wear thongs like they do now, basically.
No, no.
A little more coverage in the back and on the side. Okay. Here's a question that I'm sure you get all the time. I've heard people ask this all the time. Do you think if you had continued competing, if you had not retired in 91, could you have beaten Dorian Yates in 1992?
Well, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I had a different kind of physique than Dorian had. Dorian was, he had a more, he didn't have the tapering waist. He didn't have the vacuum. He didn't have those different things. If bodybuilding wanted to see something different, it was going more towards mass than it was symmetry and balance, then it would be hard to beat Dorian. But his bodybuilding was still maintaining the integrity of a small tapering waist, lines, and that sort of thing, presentation, then Dorian could not have beat me.
Right.
So it all depends on what the judges were looking for. Apparently, the transitioning had started to change. Dorian, I think, was someone that bodybuilding wanted to see, okay, Lee Haney has dominated the world of bodybuilding. Here's another mass monster. But it wasn't the same mass monster.
Yeah.
We still had different characteristics about our physique, and so it all depends on where the judges wanted the industry to go. There wasn't another Lee Haney out there, not with this type of size and balance and symmetry. But so the next thing, because that was made plain when I defeated Dorian.
Yeah.
But then there was nobody else at the time that could stand toe-to-toe to Dorian. So when I bowed out, then the next thing was Dorian, of course.
Yeah.
So, and finally Dorian got knocked off by Jay Cutler.
No, Dorian basically got knocked off by his own injuries and then retired.
Yeah.
He got beat by his own muscle. Tore the bicep, then at the end he tore his tricep. Yeah, he was falling apart toward the end.
Wow, man.
Yeah. He won his final Olympia with, he said his tricep was hanging on by a couple threads of tendon. That was it.
Wow.
Imagine that.
So that's mass monster training.
Yeah.
And see, so that changed bodybuilding, I think, forever.
Oh, absolutely.
Because that's where the transition happened at. It was all about the mass then. And what greater mass monster? You had Dorian, then you had Jay, then you had Ronnie. So it just stayed there for a long time.
Right.
Phil was something different. And Phil couldn't have been a Jay Cutler or a Dorian or Ronnie anyway. It's just not in his genetic blueprint to do that.
Yeah.
So he sort of calmed bodybuilding down a bit. He comes and hold up, slow it down a little bit, guys. Let's get back to the basics,
Okay. Next question is a good one because only at the Arnold Classic is the posing round judged now. Do you think the posing round should always be judged in bodybuilding?
Of course. No doubt about it. I don't know why in the heck it went wrong. I don't know why it went wrong. It should always be a pose. That's what caused me to fall in love with bodybuilding. One of the reasons. When I saw Ed Corney pose, I saw Frank Zane pose, I saw Samir pose. Sergio, Arnold. That's what made the sport something so unique and beautiful.
Yeah.
We would spend, sometime I was up at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, me and one of my training partners working on our posing routine late in the morning after having trained during the day, get home, take a nap, train again, get home, take another nap, and then you're back in the posing. Okay, listen, we got to get this down, going through different routines, transitions, all of that. It is the art of the physique that brought it all together. That was the finishing touch, that presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one is, uh, do you think you were a fair champion at the '90 Olympia? I know that was a tough one. Labrada and you were neck and neck in Chicago that year.
Well, you know what? And again, it has to do with, yeah, I would say without a doubt, I wasn't super shredded or super ripped.
Yeah.
I thought Lee looked real good, very good there. But then it's still a decision of the judges, My not being quite as sharp, but it's still enough for Lee Labrada to take the Mr. Olympia title.
Yeah.
So apparently the judges didn't feel that way. I didn't feel that way either. I could have picked Lee up and ate him, So
A little 180-pound snack.
exactly, a little snack. But you know what? Lee was a formidable athlete, man. His posing routine, just incredible. He really knew how to use every characteristic of what he had physically and how he was able to inspire the emotions of people through his routine, through his presentation, and through the way he carried himself. Lee was first class, no doubt about it. And that I feel made a huge impact.
Okay. For the next question, I think I should preface it by letting people know the Arnold Classic didn't exist until 1989, when Lee was already deep into his Olympia reign and only really had a couple years left. So the question is, why did you never compete in the Arnold Classic? Did you not want to make 2 show preps a year, or did you not think it was a relevant show?
Well, of course, Arnold Classic was very relevant. But one thing I looked at after the Mr. Olympia was, training for shows like that, man, it tears you up. When you win the Mr. Olympia, you have to give your body time to recover.
Yeah.
Particularly if you're trying to stay on top and be the very best there. After winning the Olympia, I never entered more than 1 show, and that was in Germany. I did I think a Grand Prix in Germany. That's the only other show I ever competed in beyond the Mr. Olympia.
Right.
Yes, for health reasons, to allow the body enough time to recover. But the other thing was, man, I was so busy doing other things, other business, guest appearances, endorsements, all of these different things. I mean, when you're ready to train for a show, you have to set all of that aside.
Right.
So the purpose for winning the Mr. Olympia was to create opportunity to market my success.
Yeah.
And that's what I focused on after every Mr. Olympia. Okay, how can I take this to the next level and turn this into some type of economy? That's the name of the game. Not just train for another show and another show and another show. Right now, the Arnold show is huge, and it's giving away lots of prize money. So of course it wasn't like that during the time that I competed.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't think you would have foreseen. The prize money for the Olympia was decent when you were winning, but it's over 400. I think it's right at $400,000 for Phil Heath when he wins now.
I knew it, man. I was thinking about pulling my posing trunks out. I didn't quite fit the site.
You're still healthy. You could.
It's like about thongs now,
Anybody could do it, Lee. You could do it. Okay. A couple questions from AJ. AJ is supposedly from Norway. But what is your favorite hobby beside bodybuilding? What are some of the things that interest you outside of all this?
Well, I tell you what, man. Beyond bodybuilding, I like one of my favorite things is just I'm a country boy. I love being in the country. I love nature, being involved in things having to do with nature. I bought a 40-acre farm after, near my last Mr. Olympia win, which I had horses, goats, rabbits, chickens, pigs, all kinds of great stuff, man. I use it as a sort of a retreat center for kids to come out and see the beauty of God's creation, be amongst nature, and I established a mentoring program for boys. So that's one of my things that I love doing. I love mentoring and, reaching back and helping young people particularly young men, to establish, you know, good manhood principles. You know, that's my hobby.
Yeah, that was the Lee Haney's Harvest House.
Yeah, Haney's Harvest House, and we still have facility now, and not a 40-acre ranch now, but we have, you know, outdoor basketball courts, a weight room facility, all that great stuff, and some great mentors that come in and that's a part of the program and keep it moving forward.
Okay. Do you follow the sport of bodybuilding closely? And who is your favorite current competitor?
Well, I do follow the sport of bodybuilding. I always stay on top of what's out there, what's happening. You know, there's an awesome group of young men now that's competing. There's also women that's competing. I love both categories. I've seen the sport grow a lot. And I love the fact that now bodybuilders can make a living and doing what they love to do. You know, back years ago in the past, only a few could do that. I mean, it was a real hard way to go. I mean, if you won, then you had your guest appearances, you had your endorsements, you were able to do well. But now, with endorsements, all the different supplement companies, with the internet, you can sell who you are, sell your services. You can do so many things.
Yeah.
Now, as far as who's out there that I'm looking at now, there's a lot of great folks out there. It's hard to pinpoint just one because things change overnight so fast. You know, still one of my favorite physiques is was two guys. I love Big Ramy as a mass monster. I wanted to see him and Dallas together on stage, man. I Facebooked that before Dallas passings. I can't wait to see you and Ramy on stage together. So I was looking forward to that. I'd say now you have Cedric McMillan and Phil Heath. If Cedric can pull it all together, I still think Cedric has one of the most beautiful classic physiques that I've ever seen. He's the only one that ever brought me to tears when I saw him pose. Just incredible, beautiful, beautiful lines. And that's something that's God given. You can't train a physique like that. You either got it or you don't have it.
Right.
So, and he has that. Just got to pull it all together. If he can do that, wow. But then you got Sean Roden. Sean has gotten better and better. I love Sean's lines. You know, he needed a little bit more thickness in the back area. Got great legs.
Yeah, he does.
You know, so I love the way he looked. Now, there's some other guys that are out there now that's doing good, but it's going to be interesting this year to see exactly. And the little guy, is it Cano? What's his name? Canoe?
Bonak? Bonak? No.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Kai Green.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, man, he got some beautiful lines.
Yeah.
So he looks very good. Coming in excellent condition now. Hate that Kai I don't hate it. Kai is doing what's best he feels for himself.
Yeah.
You know, the name of the game is you take your physique and you market and you sell yourself. That's the name of the game.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I got 8 Miss Olympia trophies. I can put all the mustard and ketchup I want on them. They still don't taste good. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to, while you have your moment in the sun, you have to be able to make a living from all those hard work and sacrifice.
Yeah.
So Kai is doing just that. And so I really applaud him. He's always reinventing himself. It's like Lou Ferrigno. Would it have been better for Lou to continue on the stage of bodybuilding or take his chance in a film career as the Incredible Hulk? Well, it's fed him and his family. Apparently he made the right decision.
Well, I mean, had he kept competing in bodybuilding, I'm sure it's very, very likely he would have won a couple Mr. Olympias, but everybody in the world, whether they know anything about, whether they've heard of bodybuilding or not, they know who Lou Ferrigno is, they know who the Incredible Hulk, they know him because of that, whereas, let's use an example, not to put anyone, but Franco Columbu won 2 Olympias. Average person, if you ask him, who's Franco Columbu? I never heard, who's that? I don't know. So I think Lou made the right decision. We got just a couple more questions for you, Lee. Second to last question. You were very well known as Evander Holyfield's trainer back when he was world champion. What other celebrities have you trained besides him? And they also want to know, were you a fan of Mike Tyson when Mike was champion?
Okay, yes, I had the honor of training Evander, and that was a whole learning curve in itself. Then I had the opportunity to train Gary Sheffield. You know, when Gary was with the New York Yankees, I trained him, and Shannon Sharp. So I trained Shannon Sharp, an NFL player. I also had a chance to work with Riddick Bowe a while. Then Sean Bradley. You know, I was given a job by the owner of the Philadelphia 76ers to put weight on Sean. That was an awesome opportunity. Then I had a chance to work with several other baseball players, and then Mike Tyson, almost right when Mike was getting ready to come out of, you know, when he was incarcerated for a while.
Yeah.
I was talking with his manager. His manager had reached out to me because his manager is known of my work with Evander and wanted me to work with Mike. But apparently, right before he got out, he decided to go with another trainer. And so that never happened. But I've had an opportunity to work with several celebrities. I've worked with Steve Harvey for the last 10 years and got Steve in great shape. And we became very good friends. Matter of fact, Steve has been the title sponsor of Lee Haney's Physique and Fitness Games for the last 3 years. Ever since we started the show 3 years ago, going into our 4th year now.
Yep.
So we became very good friends over the years.
Yeah, you're doing a great job with Harvey, because every time I turn the TV, he's got so many different shows. He's got the Steve Harvey Show.
Yeah.
He's got Family Feud. And he's got that one with the kids, Little Big Shots.
A Little Big Shot. 9 years started the Live at the Apollo.
Wow.
You started that one
4
up
shows. And he's 60 years old, right?
Right. Yep.
So
61 now.
He's bopping around like an 18-year-old doing all.
And he takes care of his nutrition. Always on top of his nutrition. We finish the workout. The first thing he do is have his green drink. He have a cabinet of supplements that's just huge, heavy into the age management, supplementation, those kinds of things. So, you know, the cool thing about it, when you're training with Steve, you realize that in order for him to stay in the game, you got to be healthy. And that's the whole thing for all of us. You know, to be 8-time Mr. Olympia, you can't walk, you can't move about, you can't promote, because people want to see you healthy. And I'm working on a new book called Fit at Any Age. And in that book, I'll be talking about exercise and fitness as it relates to being sensitive of age when you're training. There are certain things you do at the age of 58 that you better not do and think you're 25. So your body will let you know real fast that you're no longer 25. But there's a way to get there without tearing yourself up and being smart about
it. Okay. Look forward to that. Last question. Do you have any exciting new business ideas for the future? Why don't you talk, how did this, I'm curious as to when and how you started the IAFS. Because it's been a long time, but I don't know, I have no idea how it all began.
Well, you know, I looked at all of the different certifications that's out there. You know, you have several different ones, and with all type of claims that they can teach this and the other. But in the world of bodybuilding, we have a sports that's trial and error. It's been tried, true, and we know what works and what doesn't work. We know how nutrition works inside of the body. Protein, carbohydrates, fats. We know how to pair the different muscle groups, you know, in order to avoid injury. We know all of these things. We know how to put it together in exercise programs and exercise systems. So with that, I said, well, it's strange that no one in the bodybuilding community has ever put together a certification program. I said, that doesn't make sense. So guess what? I need to be the one to do that. And that's when I set out to start the International Association of Fitness Science, with real information, with real understanding of how training should really look, be it contest prep or be it training your average person. So the IFS does all of that. It was recognized by the Senate here in Georgia. Also Dr. Goldman, you know, with the American College of Longevity Medicine, the NPC, the IFBB, the International Chiropractic Association. all of them recognize the IAFS. Plus, I have a personal letter from Joe Weider himself, wishing me the very best, and also giving his approval on it when I first started it. Is something that the bodybuilding world can be proud of, and what we was also sensitive about, and was we purposed to make sure that the industry, that the history of our sport was reserved in this certification. You need to know who started the IFBB, who started the NPC, who was the Master Blaster, who started World's Gym and Gold's Gym. You know, so these are some of the questions that are inside of that, inside of the certification program, because it's part of us, it's our world. And that type of history need to be reserved.
That's the ultimate bodybuilding certification?
Yeah, ultimate bodybuilding certification is one type of certification.
Right.
Then you have functional training and basic nutrition. That is one geared towards the general population when training, either group training or individual business people. So one is athletic, the other one is general population.
Okay. Now, in your business ventures, you also have a supplement range, don't you?
Right, Lee Haney's nutritional support systems. Yeah. And unlike most product lines, I'm not a I got one too. Yeah. I hate I like doing stuff different, something cutting edge. That's why the IFS was important. And with Lee Haney, I said Lee Haney Nutritional Support System. So with my supplement line comes support, training programs, with understanding of what to do and how to implement the supplements into your training, into your general nutrition. So we give meal plans, we have support tools, we have a health and fitness community that people can go to and read and learn and get testimonials, showing them how to go shopping. All of this we do, you know, on with my support supplement. We have I think in the bodybuilding community, I create a 7-day systemic cleansing and detox program. That was never heard of in the bodybuilding community. Nobody ever did it. Right. Cleaning the liver, the kidney, the bloodstream, the urinary system, and cleaning the colon. So the system will be ready and clean for your next assault, your next competition. Or even after the show, you've been on a diet high in protein or high in red meats, whatever, like changing the oil in the filter in your car. You got to clean the system out. Yeah. And so that was the first of its type for that too. Yeah. So it's a lot of different things we offer this different. We have an age management pack, you know, to help supplements to help manage age. Nobody does that. No. We're not just an I can too. We're unique.
Most of the other products are get huge now, get ripped.
There you go. So they can go to LeeHaney.com and find out.
LeeHaney.com.
LeeHaney.com and join the community and become part of that and get more information.
Well, Lee, this has been a very successful episode, in my humble opinion. Premier episode of Totally Awesome with Lee Haney, 8-time Mr. Olympia. I think we pulled off a win here. I think this is going to be a very good show. People are going to be very appreciative of this.
And again, I'm very excited about it. And guys, make sure you send your questions in, get them in to Ron. You know, I want to make sure that you guys don't get hurt while you're training. Don't do stupid stuff, because there's a lot of so-called gurus out there that's putting this crap up on the internet, and a lot of them are tore up. They're injured, or they're no longer here anymore because of making stupid decisions. So if you want some real information, tried and true. And I don't say that I'm the be-all and the know-it-all when it comes to this. I've had great teachers, Arnold, Robbie, Roy Callender, Frank Zane, you know, name them. The guys that made the sport, that's who made Lee Haney. And we want to pass this information on to you guys. That's what this is all about.
All right. Well, that has been Totally Awesome with 8-time Mr. Olympia Lee Haney, brought to you by International Association of Fitness Sciences, the cutting edge in lifestyle training. Tune in next time, everybody.